Welcome back. In today's Explainer, we're diving into one of the world's oldest and honestly most surprisingly modern societies. You know, when we think of ancient history, it's so easy to just picture primitive mud huts and people barely scraping by, right? Well, scratch that. Get ready to completely rewire your expectations, because we're looking at a civilization that reached a level of what I like to call ancient futurism. It's absolutely mind-blowing. Okay, let's dive right into this. Sophisticated drainage systems thousands of years ago? Yep, you heard that right. Before a lot of other groups had even figured out permanent settlements, the folks we're talking about today were already mastering urban plumbing. I mean, think about it. Some of our modern cities still flood after a heavy rain. But these ancient engineers, they had it completely figured out. Sounds like sci-fi, I know, but it is pure, undeniable historical fact.
Section 1. The Harappan Civilization.
So the Indus Valley Civilization, which is also known as the Harappan Civilization, was this incredibly advanced ancient society. They set up shop and really flourished along the rich, fertile river valleys in what is now modern-day Pakistan and northwest India. And that geography is absolutely crucial, right? Because those rivers provided the massive agricultural backbone they needed to support immense populations. But what makes them truly remarkable isn't just how old they are or where they lived. It's how advanced they were. They weren't just surviving the ancient world, they were actively designing it.
Section 2. Where and when.
Take a look at this. Starting way back around 3300 BCE, this civilization truly starts to flourish. Now, follow that timeline all the way down to 1300 BCE, which is when things start to decline. I'm just going to pause for a second here so we can really absorb the sheer weight of those dates. We are talking about a staggering timeline, spanning roughly 2,000 years. Just think about how much our modern world has changed in the last 100 years. Now imagine 2 whole millennia of a continuous, thriving, deeply sophisticated society.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer scale of their major metropolitan hubs: Harappa, Mohenjo-Daro, Dhalavira, Lothal. We aren't talking about small, isolated little camps here. The fact that we have multiple, massive cities proves this wasn't just one lucky town that happened to figure things out. No, this was a sprawling, highly organized network of major urban centers dominating the whole region. They essentially built the ancient world's very first true metropolitan corridors.
Section 3. Advanced Urban Planning.
Honestly, if I read these features to you without mentioning the historical dates, you'd probably think I was pitching a brand new master-planned real estate development. Look at step 1, well-organized street grids. That level of city planning was practically unheard of back then. Step 2, strong, durable, uniformly baked brick houses. Step 3 brings us to public baths, which shows this really rare ancient focus on community and hygiene. And step 4, sophisticated drainage systems. Like we said earlier, we still struggle with city plumbing today, yet this society was engineering true, functioning urban ecosystems millennia ago. And get this, their brickwork was so robust, so perfectly uniform, that thousands of years later, 19th century railway engineers actually scavenged Harappan bricks to build modern train tracks. How wild is that?
Section 4. The Ancient Economy. Of course, a brilliantly designed city is really only as functional as its people, and man, the Harappans were incredibly skilled. Their economy wasn't just about bare minimum survival farming, far from it. It was exceptionally diverse. We're talking meticulously crafted beads, intricate pottery, beautifully woven cotton textiles, and expertly worked metals. This highly skilled population was mass-producing specific, high-quality goods that held real practical and cultural value. They were, for all intents and purposes, the ancient world's manufacturing powerhouse.
So just how valuable were those goods? Well, their trade network didn't stay local. It had an incredibly impressive global reach. Indus Valley traders were packing up those cotton textiles, those precious beads and metals, and exporting them across vast, punishing distances. We're talking all the way over to distant regions like Mesopotamia. In fact, archaeologists today are still finding Indus Valley seals buried in Mesopotamian ruins. It's an absolute masterclass in ancient logistics and early global commerce, proving for sure that a globally connected economy isn't just some modern invention.
Section 5. Decline and Lasting Legacy.
Well, as history goes, all things experience change. Around 1300 BCE, this incredible civilization did eventually decline. Now, the exact reasons, whether it was climate change, shifting rivers, or maybe some other factors, are still heavily debated by experts. But honestly, their decline doesn't diminish what they built. The Indus Valley Civilization stands as a truly powerful example of human innovation, organization, and cultural development in the ancient world. They completely reset the benchmark for what ancient human beings were capable of achieving, and they continue to deeply fascinate historians and archaeologists to this very day. Which leaves us with a pretty profound question to ponder. If a civilization from 5,000 years ago built sophisticated, highly organized cities with public baths, standardized bricks, and complex drainage, what are historians going to say about our cities 5,000 years from now? Will our modern infrastructure stand the test of time quite like the Harappans? It's just a really awe-inspiring reminder of the cyclical nature of human innovation. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking great questions, and I'll catch you next time.